Michelle are podcast's most interesting and loving couple. Join them every week as this radio personality and this author come together to let you into their lives.
Welcome to Couples News. That's right, if you're a couple finding the regular news to be a little monotonous with the old negativity, then get your fact fix and, dare I say, some guidance from an actual couple who will report on the highlights that occurred in their relationship during the week.
And the lowlights.
What's your problem?
Starting off with some frightening medical news. It seems that the man look virus is spreading across the globe as husband who insists he looked there is shown by wife that his keys were on the coffee table the whole time. Evidence of husband performing more man looks escalated during the day with gym bag next to the bed where you left it and hay fever tablets in the medicine cabinet where they're kept.
Yes, and a warning to all wives of men demonstrating man look behaviour that upon finding the lost item, the phrase, gee, that's a weird place for it, doesn't help matters at all.
Yeah,
Sport controversy in a report that absolutely reeks of midlife crisis. Husband in early 40s admits that dreams of a football career are long behind him and sets his sights on a semi-professional side career in poker, surprising absolutely fucking no one at all.
To tech news now, evidence found in an Insta story featuring the grotesque mauling of a post-Hens Night McChicken reveals that apparently a wife can commit to a plant-based diet on a when-it-suits her basis.
To royal news, a husband who cooked breakfast once on a Saturday thinks he's king shit.
This just in, some research husbands need to be aware of. Linguistic students from the University of Cambridge confirmed that "did you put the bins out" is apparently a new form of morning greeting.
To the weather, and husband who referred to his wife as mate during party doesn't realise he's on fucking thin ice.
Some breaking medical news overnight when it was discovered that a fart in Nobu is only funny when she does it.
In fashion news, husband uncharacteristically seen applying hair product and wife's paw lip balm just before wife's sister drops off a container she borrowed. We'll keep a close eye on the situation and I fucking dare it to develop.
In entertainment news, wife claims she knows every single word to the movie Clueless and then puts on the movie and proves that she does indeed know some of the words to the movie Clueless.
To employment news, husband's tradie and more masculine brother comes over and installs brackets to mount the new 4K LED television while husband desperately tries to convince himself that they both did it.
Some shocking news in entertainment over the weekend. An early investigation into the guest Netflix account reveals wife watched the first 3 seasons of Game of Thrones without her husband, despite giving him her word this shit would never happen again.
Now to weather. A strong cold front is expected to set into the bedroom tonight.
Oh, winter is coming, is it? Glad something is. That's right.
that is so good. Oh.
Man.
It goes down to the DM. It's the podcast that made it to radio. That was hilarious.
I loved it. It seems that we're with the shits today, and I like that. So
yeah, no, we're with the shits. And you know what? Definitely all of those are very true.
Truth.
Including, as you said during the video, asking me to take our son out.
In the morning.
Sometimes I don't even get a good morning.
Yeah, it's, hey, have a good day at work. Can you take our son out also?
Yeah. It's, hey, can you take our son out? And have a good day at work, by the way.
No, my favorite was, the cooking one. And I was like, that was you. That was you on Thursday when we had dinner and you patted yourself on the bed. This man looked at me and said, was I a good boy? I was like, excuse me?
I just wanted to make sure I was doing good.
Was I a good boy? A crazy question to ask your wife.
Was I a good boy?
Yeah, you were.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I needed to know.
Okay.
Oh, man. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about so many things. So we're going to talk about this man who talks about what happens when a man enters a new romantic relationship. I'm looking forward to breaking that down. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I need to definitely comment on that because that is actually blowing my mind because it's true now that I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know Brittany Renner?
Yeah.
Okay, so Brittany Renner, we have to talk about this too because body count came up.
Yeah.
So she was doing an interview somewhere and she had said that she had only had 35 bodies.
Ooh, that's a heavy number.
Now, it is a heavy number, but considering who she is, it doesn't seem like a heavy number, right? Like, I would say maybe I'm shocked that it's under 50 for her.
Well, how old is she?
I don't know. Let me look real quick.
Because, like, my thing is, even if you say started having sex at 16.
She's 31.
Okay, she's 31. If she started having sex at 16, that's about, I guess that's not bad if you break it down. Like, two people a year.
I mean,
For 15 years.
For 15 years?
That's not so bad.
I've been having sex for 16 years. That sounds crazy.
It's tough, right? Because, like, women put more pressure on each other when it comes to sex than men do. However, men judge a lot of women for who they choose, like how many people they choose to sleep with. Like, for some reason, numbers really matter to men. Even if they know, like, this woman is going to be my everything, we're going to get married, her body count matters. And I hate that stereotype because, like, how come you get to have 30 people under your belt, but I only get to have 6 or 7?
I don't. So here's how I feel about that, right? I don't think it should be treated differently, personally.
I agree, yeah.
I think that trashy is trashy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I think there's a specific cutoff for both that says, hey, yo, maybe you should have done whatever you could to not get that high.
Yeah, I feel like, our women listeners will hate me when I say this, but I feel like for women, and I'll say this as a woman, I don't feel like you should have more than one partner a month. I know some women who will get, like, on Tinder and really
and it's just all hookups.
And it's just all hookups, or they'll hook up with the same guy for a couple of weeks and then a new guy a couple weeks later. And I'm just like, there's 52 weeks in a year. If you're doing that, that's 25 dudes in a year.
Yeah.
Like, that's when I start to get a little judgy.
Yeah. And 25 dudes in a year, and you say 3 years, you're hitting 75 right there.
Right. And then you have to be careful, too, because unwanted pregnancies, if you slip up and you're not safe and you get pregnant, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many other things that can happen when it comes to your sexual and reproductive health, where that just becomes dangerous.
I don't subscribe to, I think any man who has had sex over a specific number and any woman who has had sex over a specific number. Now, when I was younger and you're a younger man, it doesn't mean anything to you, right?
Right.
Because you're not really, like I've said it on the air, I engaged in sex with a girl who I think I was her 34th guy.
Oh, yeah, you told me about her.
And I wouldn't sleep with her today now that I've grown up and I'm married. I think that's a big point.
Yeah, but that's the biggest point. Like, it should be before grown up.
No, but seriously, even if I wasn't married, right? Like, I wouldn't do that today. But I was 21. And I was, you do stupid shit when you're 21. But I would look at her now and be like, girl, what's up? You know what I'm saying?
Definitely not her cervix.
Yeah. Well, I ended up finding out that she got HIV later.
All right.
Or no, not. I don't know if it was HIV or herpes.
Both are forever, though.
But I think it was the herpes.
That's tough.
And it's so funny because a former friend told me, and I go, oh my God, when? And he was like, no, it was way after, bro. It was way after you had sex with her. So I was like, oh, thank God.
That's scary, though, right? When you think about it. Like, my sister, one of my sisters, had a situation where she wasn't aware that a dude was overlapping. Like, he was going and having sex with her and then going to have sex with another chick. And
that's foul.
The only reason she ended up finding out was because dude ended up getting a bad case of something. I don't remember if he had chlamydia, gonorrhea. I don't remember what he had, but he never got it treated. And he might not, because a lot of men sometimes don't get the same symptoms as women. And so he ended up, his kidneys started to fail. And he ended up having to go to the hospital.
Oh,
and he ended up having to have an appendectomy. And,
Holy!
Oh, yeah, it was crazy. And so then my friend had to go get tested and then be on a dose of antibiotics and shit. But I'm just like, shit like that is so crazy. But even thinking about, like, dudes that you mess around with in the past and hearing that they got some shit, and then you're like, oh, fuck, when did you get it?
Yeah.
Or even if you know you're clean, right? Like, even if you go to the doctor regularly, that fear automatically
it's a real fear.
appears in your mind.
It had been 3 years. This was probably late 2017 when I heard this, and this happened in the summer of 2014. And even still, you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
what did I do?
Yeah.
Because you never think that you're going to... And now, I understand things happen, but not that. But you never think that the people you sleep with are going to be that messy or dirty to catch something. It's just weird.
It begs the question, hypothetically, had you have gotten something, would you have sued her? Because, nowadays, if you find out that someone you slept with
knew about it,
knew that they had something and kept being unsafe, you can, sue them. So do you think that you would have taken the time to sue? Because herpes is something you live with for the rest of your life. Like, that's it for you. That's forever. And then think about it, like, not a lot of women are going to want to be with a dude that they know has herpes. So would you have sued?
I don't know if I would have sued. I mean, because it's forever. Yeah, I would have sued.
Yeah.
But
if it was just like chlamydia or gonorrhea, you would have just taken the antibiotics and been done.
Yeah, and I never would have said a word.
Oh, that makes sense, I guess.
I never would have told anybody. If you get rid of it, do you still have to disclose to partners in the future?
No, I don't think so.
No, right?
As long as you don't currently have something, I don't think you have to disclose.
So I'm seeing here about the STDs. We were talking just a little bit ago that if you had a curable STD, did you have to disclose it? So I couldn't find anything, but they do recommend that you have, this is some sexual health here, that you go ahead and if you're having sex with multiple partners, just like you were talking about, honey, the weekly girl.
Yeah.
She should be getting checked every 3 to 6 months.
I like that, yeah.
If you're having sex steadily with one person, they recommend that you do a yearly checkup.
I like that. And let's, for a moment, focus on that yearly checkup because people think it's not important. But the reality is, 2 clean people can also get STDs. Think about stuff like trichomonas. Trichomonas, I might be saying it wrong. Anyway, that's a sexual STD, but it presents more like a UTI.
Can I tell you, by the way, you have said trichomonas. I can't count ever since I've met you. It's like, did you have an experience with this?
No, I'm just playing
it's always
the first one I think about because it's literally, sexually related bacteria that can get in your urethra. And it's very common, especially for women, which is why it's important to urinate after sex and things like that. And then also chlamydia. You can get chlamydia from a sex toy. If you're not properly cleaning your sex toys and your instrument.
Yeah, you can get it from the toilet, right? You can get it from a toilet.
I feel like that kind of was myth busted away. But I feel like I think it's gonorrhea that you can actually get from the toilet seat. We'll have to figure that out for our next show. But there you go. There's some sexual health information from Danny and Michelle. Go get your shit checked.
Which, by the way, I think you have a sexologist, hopefully, in the future that we're going to be talking about.
I do. We do have a sexologist that we're working on setting up an interview with. So if you guys have any other sexual health-related questions, please send them to us at Down in the DM Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok, or email us at downinthedmpod@gmail.com. and we will answer your questions live on the radio.
All right, so we're going to get this story right now. We're talking about multiple sex partners. Mm-hmm. Getting people pregnant out here on your girl, your hot girl. Wow, what is it with these guys, man?
They think that they're the shit out here.
Is it when you have a lot of money and because you don't really value hot women?
I think that's what it is. I think it's exactly that. You know, when you have a lot of money or you have a well-known name and you have that prestige, you know you can always get women, so you start bigging yourself up. Or even women do it. Women who, you know, think that they're shit, they big themselves up a lot, not really taking into consideration that there are feelings involved.
Right, exactly. It's weird to say because at the same time, it's like, well, these people who are getting involved with somebody who has that type of money and that type of status, you know what that comes with, right? So kind of guard your heart off.
I mean, but
a little bit, but it's hard, right? It's easier said than done.
Well, and also I hate that that's the standard, right? I hate that people go into relationships with people who have prestige or big names or big money, and they go, oh, I got to guard my heart because this person isn't going to value it. And it's not always true. There are, you know, people out here who do value their partners, but going into a relationship with that idea that you have to stay guarded is going to cause some problems in the long run.
And it's not going to last, yeah.
Exactly, because you're waiting for it to fail.
By the way, I'm so glad I'm married because my Google search history is bananas. The fact that there is, if you have a cured STD, how long should you wait till you don't have to tell someone?
If I would have came across that on your phone, I was like, what the fuck is this?
What are you searching? What'd you do?
Or I would have assumed that Precious sent you a weird-ass TikTok. That girl sends us really weird TikTok. Sometimes she sends me TikToks, and then I find myself researching what she sent me.
You go down a rabbit hole, and like, I'm just like, well, I didn't even want to be here. All right, this story is crazy. Having a baby on your person is crazy.
Hey, Tristan Thompson,
and she keep taking him back.
She let him get her pregnant. That's really the problem. Like, not only does she take him back, but she keeps taking him back and having babies.
Do you think she's like everybody else had babies and they didn't even expect Kim to have have several babies, let alone one?
I think that's
so. She's like, I gotta catch up. I gotta play catch up with my sisters. I'm not the hottest Kardashian.
I think that Khloe is aware that the only thing that she has going for her is that booty. Like, literally, that's all she has. And so she needs to use sex and intimacy so that she still has a storyline on the show.
Okay.
No, hold on. Before we get into this, do you know that this bitch is a part of, like, she has some kind of deal with Country Crock? And so one day,
are you serious?
I'm so serious. So one day I'm looking on the internet and I see Khloe Kardashian in a Country Crock butter commercial. I was like,
my God.
I was like, man, you don't got shit else to offer the world, do you, Khloe?
Oh my God. You know her rate's lower than Kim and Kourtney's.
I'm trying to figure out how she is lower than Kourtney, of all people. Like,
Kourtney upped her status because she's with Travis Barker.
Yeah. You know, but Kourtney is a glorified baby boomer. Like, that bitch has enough kids to be a starting line on a basketball team. Like, why? That's all she's known for.
You're
babies.
so foul.
That's not true. But let's talk about a couple I actually do like. Let's talk about...
Hold on. I want to see this.
In the kitchen trying Country Crock plant butter. What I love about Country Crock, it's the one thing I have in my refrigerator that's older than I am. The fact that they have the plant butter makes me
I forgot.
She's really in the
trying to get
Country Crock.
Yeah.
You eat, however you would use traditional dairy.
That's crazy.
Shout out Kris Jenner and Khloe Kardashian and Country Crock butter.
Man,
you know, like, she tried to sell clothes and everything. Now she's just
they're trying to get in there early though, because when them bitches turn 60, 70, that's gonna be the only commercials they're gonna be in. They're just like, Let's plant the seed now.
It's going to be like, remember the Golden Girls and how they always had a scene in the kitchen? Where they would eat the cheesecake?
Yeah.
That's going to be the Kardashians. And they're going to recreate that scene, but with country crock butter. They're just spreading butter on shit in their 60s and 70s.
Well, let's talk about playing basketball and having babies on your wife.
All right. I think she was just his girlfriend at the time.
She was just his girlfriend at the time.
I don't know. We're going to find out.
Dwayne Wade recently revealed that telling Gabrielle Union, his now wife, about fathering a child with another woman was even harder than competing in the NBA Finals. In 2013, he confirmed the birth of his son with Asia Madoyer, emphasizing that he and Union were on a break at the time. In a podcast interview recently, Wade expressed his fear and the lasting impact of this revelation on their relationship. He admitted that discussing it with Union was way harder than playing in the NBA Finals that year. Eventually, they married in 2014 and have continued to work on their relationship, seeking therapy and addressing their past. Gabrielle Union has also written about the pain this revelation caused her in her 2021 memoir. Good for her for having the courage to stick around after that.
Now, Gabrielle Union, she's my girl crush idol. Like, I love her, and I respect her so damn much.
Yeah.
But, like, she has dealt a lot with PCOS and endometriosis. And, you know, she has a lot of reproductive health issues. And so, to have to know that not only did your man cheat on you, but he had a baby on you, knowing that you're dealing with reproductive health problems, and then you still stuck it out, because it's traumatic. Like, when I miscarried back in 2018, I had trouble being around pregnant women. So I can't imagine how hard it would be to be around someone who had a baby on you, knowing the kind of struggles that your body is going through, and you want to have your own kid. So I have a lot.
Do you think that that's your limit? Because you said something recently to me that I'm the only person that you would ever forgive, or you would ever do your best to try to forgive cheating with.
Oh, yeah.
But that's just cheating.
Oh, yeah. If
Getting somebody pregnant is a whole nother level.
No, that's my limit. That's a hard limit for me, especially. Like, I can say I'm not on Gabrielle Union's level. Fuck you and your couch.
Yeah.
Like, I've dealt with too many reproductive health issues of my own over the years, especially because you don't want any more kids. And so the slap in the face that it would be to your wife to see that not only did you cheat, but you cheated and got somebody pregnant, I'd kill you. Wait, I can't say that on the radio.
I don't think you can say that on the radio.
My bad.
Guys, if something happens to me, now you know.
Yeah, that he cheated and got a bitch pregnant. That's what you know.
No, I would never do that.
I know you wouldn't, but
I'd come in her ass to prevent that.
Maybe you should say you would never cheat.
Oh.
That's like...
I just keep fucking those situations up, huh?
It seems so.
Should we go to music?
Wait, no. Wait.
What?
I would have asked, would you, in his situation, would you have come clean like he did? And then tried to also work through it?
I have a guilty conscience, right? So I would have to come clean, but I would also have to separate myself from you.
Yeah.
Because I understand the hurt that I caused. And a lot of the time, like, if I know I hurt someone, I tend to run away.
Yeah,
I drop my I'm sorry bomb. And, here's why I did it. But I understand why you hate me right now. I understand why you feel the way you do. I'm just going to X myself out of the situation so that I'm not constantly in your face making you think about it.
So on a further hypothetical, what if after we separated for a time, I came back and said we could work through it?
Yeah, maybe. It would have to be time.
All right, I respect that, yeah.
It would have to be time because I wouldn't feel good with myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I have to tend to this person who had my baby.
Yeah.
Gabrielle doesn't have to see the woman whenever they have to see each other.
A blended family at this point. But you're right. I think in the beginning there was a lot of separation.
In the beginning, it would be really tough.
Yeah.
You know?
And then,
but good for Gabrielle, man. Wow.
Yeah, and then for you especially, I know it would be a difficult transition because you always said like you don't want to have another kid whose life you're not a part of. And so I know you,
right.
And you would be torn between being a part of your child's life or fixing things with your wife.
Fixing things with my wife. Exactly. You know how things have gone with my daughter, so
yeah, I
wouldn't want to do that to someone else again either.
Yeah.
You know, just leave them with the baby. So it would be tough because my wife does mean a lot to me. I mean the world to me.
That makes a lot of sense. Let us know what you guys think at Down in the DM Pod on Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter.
Never trust a man's feelings in the first 3 to 6 months of dating. At the beginning, all right, the notorious honeymoon phase, the excitement and attraction of a new woman can trigger an increase in testosterone levels in a man, and this can lead into intense feelings of desire and passion, which may cloud his judgment, because this boost of testosterone actually blocks another hormone called oxytocin, which is the responsible in promoting attachment between partners. So what happens many times is that once his infatuation fades away and his testosterone decreases, many guys pull away and search for that rush of emotions again in someone new, instead of slowly developing a deeper emotional connection with you.
Hold on. Before we dive into this, can we talk about how he had to focus to say all of his English words?
Yeah, he was definitely a recent learner of English. He still says new.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he was focused and like he was giving a presentation at school.
Yeah.
All right, so before I say how I feel, how do you as a man feel about this? Do you feel like he's accurate?
Absolutely. I can't agree anymore with this. And, you know, it really blew my mind a little bit because there's something that a lot of people, it's one of the terms in the poly world. It's NRE. Have you heard of this before?
I think so.
New relationship energy. And they say that there is a rush that comes from getting to know someone new. And I'm wondering if this is pretty much describing what that is in a physical form. Because that's so crazy. It's so real. When you meet a girl and your whole spirit changes. The way you carry yourself, the way you walk, you really start to make sure your appearance is on point. And he's so right. The infatuation stage can, once it dies down, that boost of testosterone is not there. She kind of becomes a boring fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a real thing. This is crazy.
So I sent you more information about that. So before I get into my breakdown, share with us the additional information that they had with this TikTok, because I think it's very interesting.
I have to pull it back up, so go ahead.
All right. So I feel torn on this, right? Because 3 to 6 months is it's a very broad form of time when you think about long term. 3 months, yeah. Like 3 months makes sense. 6 months, if you don't know how you feel about me in 6 months, I'm not, 6 months is half a year.
I don't think it's about not knowing how you feel about someone. I think it's more so just about being completely into you. That like, oh, I want to rip your clothes off and I want, you know what I mean? Like everything to be sex between us and just really like we're enjoying all of these things and then eventually it just fizzles out.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you don't know how you feel about me past, like when we're not in the bedroom within the first 6 months, you're not meant to be my person. And this also highlights a lot of things that people, we harp on these a lot. Spend time with your partner, but also show them the things that interest you. Like, I can acknowledge I'm not a very interesting person. Like, I like to read and be left alone. However, I have a decent sense of humor, and I stay up to date on, things going on in the world. And so we have more things to talk about. It's not just intimacy, and it's not just sex. And I feel like that's the aspect of this relation, like this TikTok, that was missing. Like, he needed to break down that, yeah, dudes need a little bit more to help maintain their interest, but like, explain it. You know what I mean? Like, explain this is what we need to be interested in women long term. Because the TikTok, play it again. Because to me, this TikTok sounds like outside of sex. Play it again. Let's see.
Never trust a man's feelings in the first 3 to 6 months of dating. At the beginning, all right, the notorious honeymoon phase, the excitement and attraction of a new woman can trigger an increase in testosterone levels in a man, and this can lead into intense feelings of desire and passion, which may cloud his judgment.
So definitely it's not sexual. It's definitely not sexual. But it's also, but there is a longing for that new energy that your body kicks into, I think is what's happening here.
That makes sense. I don't know. I think it's the clouding the judgment thing.
Right. So let me read this. Let me read this then.
Okay.
Because it says, when a man enters a new romantic relationship, it is possible that he experiences an increase in testosterone levels due to factors such as excitement and anticipation and the desire to impress his new partner. According to love biologist Dawn Massler, the chemicals dopamine and vasopressin are vital for a man to start falling in love, whereas it's oxytocin and dopamine for women. Oxytocin, often nicknamed the love or cuddle hormone, also plays an important role in men, but at a later stage when men are dating, but not yet in love. Their testosterone levels are higher, which blocks the bonding effects of oxytocin. Generally, the hormones and neurotransmitters needed for love build up gradually while dating, getting to know and building trust with a potential partner. Interesting.
I like that explanation better because it makes sense. It makes it sound less about what's happening.
A burning desire.
Yeah, it makes it sound less about sex, and it makes more sense that way, like analytically. And it explains so much, and I can't wait until our next break because we can talk about delulu. We can do delulu.
Oh, yes.
But this makes me think about, like, okay, that makes a lot of sense because it does take time. It takes time. And then also men have to decide on their own that they want you.
And
like,
we don't love the same way.
Yeah.
We kind of get really swept into that sweet lovey-dovey shit, but men are just generally not built that way.
Yeah.
So it takes them a longer time to be like, damn, I actually love this girl. I feel something for this girl.
Well, and then sometimes, like for you, it took you to not have me for a period of time to realize that it wasn't just the increase of, dopamine and testosterone, but it was like you actually desired to have me around. And a lot of times women don't give men enough time to say that. Like, ladies, start giving enough time for your man to decide. Yeah, it was.
It was 4 months. And I knew what I do best was run away. But that's what it is. I mean, I can tell you right now, I mean, it is very, very true that men, it takes a lot longer for men to realize, like, damn, I care about this person enough to want to invest in them.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah, and that's, that way.
I'm sorry?
I like it worded that way. That
definitely, yeah. The wording is a lot better in the text.
You care. Would you say I care enough about someone to want to invest in them?
Yes.
And that's so important. Like, I know women, we don't always think about that because we get so caught up in new love. But like, once the newness wears off,
you got to remember, like, oh my God, I like this person. Wow. Right. Whoa. Let's get into this. You gave me a fun TikTok here.
I did, but before you launch it, I want to ask you.
Oh, more questions.
Actually, you know what? Launch it and I'll ask you after. No. The TikTok is better here. Do the TikTok.
What is the number one wildest thing that you have ever done for love? I'll go first. When I was 23 years old, I decided to move my entire life from Europe to Canada for a guy that I met traveling, backpacking in Australia. We hadn't been dating for very long, to be honest. And I knew that moving here would mean that I would move in with him right away. Everything went really quickly, and it had to, because otherwise this wouldn't have worked. Nobody, and I mean like literally almost nobody, believed in us. Everybody thought it was just It was just nuts what we were doing. Like, there's no way this was going to work out. But here we are, 8 years later. We're happily married. We have a kid. We have a dog. We have our ups and downs, just like every other couple. I think the biggest thing for me was, even if things wouldn't have worked out, I would have had no regrets giving it a shot. But I would have regretted not giving it a shot, because then I would have never known.
Oh, I love her optimistic view.
Yeah. It's very white privilege of her.
No, okay, let's not do that.
Okay. I was the happiest. You could tell she's Canadian because that was...
She's European.
They're all Canadians.
Okay, but here's the deal. First off, good for her for taking risks, because that's always been me.
Yeah.
So I can identify with that so much. Trust me, she's really good at telling stories. Because I thought it was going to go bad.
I thought it was going to go bad too when I first heard the TikTok, and then I don't watch it again. But with all seriousness, I loved this. First of all, it reminded me so much of us, because people thought that with us the same thing. Like, oh my God, it's so fast, and there was just a pandemic, and blah, 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 and it's never going to work. And then they see us together, and then they understand how it just fits.
Yeah.
But... what's the craziest thing you've ever done for love?
Oh my God. Literally decide to, I think it's with you.
Marriage?
Well, not marriage. The literally living here the moment I came to just to visit.
Oh, yeah. You never went back.
I never would have done that. Never.
Yeah.
That's crazy even saying it out loud.
Let me tell you, the craziest thing I ever did for love, which is also the stupidest thing I ever did for love.
Okay, I don't. It's gonna be such an asshole. Go ahead.
No, be an asshole. Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
Is it letting me see you with
Oh, no, it's probably letting you grab it like Trump.
Okay. By the way, I did silence us on the air while I said it.
That's very funny. No, so I don't know if I ever told you this story, so this is going to be great.
Oh, boy.
This is probably, like, hands down the stupidest thing I've ever done, and here's why. So when Marquise and I were together, he didn't always like going to Anderson, right? And in 2014, we had this crazy blizzard, like snow up to my thighs. The power went out in the whole area.
Holy shit.
He was working at Kroger at the time, and the power went out at Kroger, so they had to send everybody home. Like, it was wild. And so my mom at the time was working here in Indianapolis, and she was like, I'm going to come by after work. I'm going to pick you guys up and, so you guys can come to my house. Now, at this time, we still had power, but we knew that the storm was going to be really bad. Yeah. And so Marquise didn't want to go to my mom's house. And I also, we had a roommate at the time, but he doesn't matter. But Marquise didn't really want to go to my mom's house. I also really didn't want to go to my mom's house. But most of the reason I didn't go was for him. So then the next morning, we wake up, no power, negative 18 degrees. And luckily, my mom's coworker lived directly across the street from us in the same complex. So she was like, it's cool. I text her. She's like, it's cool. You guys can come over and wait it out. We ended up spending the whole day at her house because we had no power, no electricity. That's not why it was stupid. It was stupid of me to not go with my mom, who, for all of you who, listen to our podcast regularly, you know that my mom's been a nurse for my whole life. So for 30 years, my mom's been a nurse. I was really sick at the time, and at the time, they didn't know what was wrong with me. And so not only do we not have power, electricity and shit, but I'm like throwing up, and I'm lethargic. And at the time, the doctors still don't know what's wrong with me.
And you're throwing up in this lady's house?
Lady's house with her newborn baby. And she let me sleep. I passed out on her couch for most of the day because I was slowly dying on the inside. So fast forward to about a week later, the next week was, I always tell you the story about when I spent 90 some odd days in the hospital in 2014. Well, the next week was the week I ended up having to be committed. And So I literally almost died that day during a blizzard because I didn't want my boyfriend to go to a stranger's house alone. I know, right? Go ahead. You can be an asshole.
No, it's just more so. It's like it's so crazy to think about that, right? Like in hindsight.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what in my mind is like. Don't you wish you just did it now? Like that you could go back to that time and just decide the other option.
Right. And the thing about it,
because like he was such a piece of shit to you. It's like it doesn't matter how you treated him.
Yeah, and the fact that I just didn't go because I didn't want him to be uncomfortable. Like that was the main reason.
And he never offered you that courtesy.
Yeah, he never gave me the courtesy. He never said to me like, "Hey, you don't feel good, so why don't you go without me? And if we lose power or whatever, I'll deal with it." Like it was nothing like that. It was just like, "Oh, I don't want to go, so I want you to stay with me."
Wild. Mm-hmm. What are we doing today? We're learning about
delulu.
Delulu.
Yeah.
Do you have a friend who thinks they're in a relationship, but they might just be a little delusional?
He wants to marry me.
It's being called, I've never heard of this, a delusionship. It's not a relationship. It's just all in their head. Signs of being delulu include fantasizing about someone you barely know or mapping out your entire life with a person when you've gone on one single date.
Hold on.
Wait. After one date, they're like, my man, but that man is out on another date right now, homegirl.
Wait, delulu, though? Is that a real thing?
It is now.
I think Perry made that up, our producer.
That is so funny.
Thank you, Fox 16 out of Chicago.
They're talking about the real things out there.
Yeah, it seems so.
But hold on a minute.
This messed me up. Go ahead. You go first.
Don't women do this from like a little age?
That's what I was going to say. Like, this is like crush behavior. I remember being in probably middle school and I liked the boy and it was, Michelle plus blah, blah, blah with the hearts and the stickers. And
yes.
But I guess maybe when you get older, you sound like a psycho. Is what I guess. Like. But it also makes sense because think about it. You and I had an incident earlier in the year where this girl had convinced herself that at some point in you knowing her that you had feelings for her, and she was really talking about it like it was a real thing, and we had to nip that in the butt because we're married. And so I guess it really does happen.
I guess you're right. I mean, it's interesting though because I think about I minimize the severity of it, I guess, right? Because I think that this is what people do with celebrities, and they haven't even been on one date with them.
I do, but also it becomes real. Remember I told you about the girl a couple of years ago who she was asking for relationship advice, and I told her straight up that she was in the wrong. And basically, the situation for our listeners was that she had been having sex with this guy for about a year. They were really good friends. Eventually, they started sleeping together. But for him, it wasn't serious at all.
Yeah.
And so she took him to a family barbecue or a family reunion or something, and she was introducing him as her boyfriend. And then he said during this event, like, I'm not your boyfriend. And
that's right, in front of people.
In front of people. And so they ended up, ending their friendship because she had convinced herself that because they were having sex, they were in a relationship. And so I guess this does kind of apply, or for those first date psychos who go on one date and then all of a sudden they think it's something more, or like, some women meet dudes on Tinder. You used to have a friend who used to meet a dude on Tinder, and then once she slept over, in her mind, that's when it became serious. And then if it ended a couple of weeks later, she couldn't really
handle the fact that
because it wasn't serious
and it wasn't genuine to him, especially and I mean, people get mad at me because they think I'm just this like crazy right-wing lunatic, but it's more so that I just think about the respect of yourself, right?
Right.
Like this goes back to the whole body count thing that we talked about at the beginning of the show, where there's a certain number that makes you look crazy, but also you can't expect to have anyone have any high expectations of you if you're letting them hit on the first date.
I also think that it's pertinent for us to mention it's so important to have conversations about your relationship. Like, if you, when me and Danny first got together, we had a conversation through every single step. It was, we were getting to know each other, and then we're talking, and then we're dating, and like, we went through all of the steps. Like, yeah, for a lot of people it was fast, but that doesn't mean that those conversations didn't happen. So many people get so swept up in how someone makes them feel that they don't remember to check in with that person. And I think that that's one of the most selfish things that you can do when you're dating or trying to be in a real relationship.
Agreed. What else was I going to say about this?
I'm not a mind reader.
Well, I just think delulu.
Delulu.
Which every one of us has a friend that has been a little delusional about somebody. And you knew about it.
Yeah.
You knew they were going a little crazy about this person that they probably should not be fucking around with.
Yeah. I like that. Delulu.
Delulu.
I'm going to add it to my new phrases list with flued out.
It goes down to the DM. It's the podcast that made it to radio.
Okay. Hold on.
It is so freaking funny in here.
Danny bought his first newspaper.
I paid for my first newspaper subscription ever.
Okay.
And she's making fun of me for it.
No, all I did was ask him if he needed coupons.
I was excited. I'm going to get my circular every Sunday.
All right, you're old. You are old fuck.
At least it's not a paper boy just chucking a paper at my house. It's on the internet. Is that millennial of me?
Sure. So, hold on. Let's back up to that. So, in 2008 and 2009, Big Devin had a paper route. And so, sometimes me and Little Devin would go with him to do the paper route. And remember the story I told you about the girl getting kicked out of the car butt naked with the chihuahua? That was during the Big Devin's paper route one night. For those of you who are not listening to our podcast regularly, you need to get caught up. But just real quick, the story was one day I was out with my brothers and we were delivering the paper and we ended up at a stoplight, and it was like 3 a.m. And we look over to the car to our right, and it's just a rockin'. And next thing you know, this white girl comes falling out of the car, clutching a dog, and she runs to the laundry mat.
Holy mother!
Like she can just suddenly get let in. And so we looked at each other, and we looked at them, and then we looked at each other again, and we were so thankful that light went green because we weren't about to let that naked bitch and the dog in the car with us.
Wow.
Yeah.
My man kicked her out.
With the dog.
With the dog. You and the bitch. The two bitches go.
Two bitches gotta go. Right. How do you feel about kidnapping?
When I was a kid, I thought it was cute.
Oh my god, that was very funny. The thing that pisses me off, why are we still saying kidnapped about adults?
Right, well, that's my whole thing. It's like, it doesn't sound that bad.
It doesn't.
Like, abduction sounds way worse, yo.
Kidnapping sounds like that third hour of preschool.
Yes! It just reminds me of the mats being on the floor.
Yep.
And we had nap time for 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's what kidnapping should be.
Yes.
We need to start using abduction. Or they probably call it unkidnapped.
Yeah.
They're unaliving.
Untaken.
Yeah, untaken. They're unaliving people out here.
Or unstayed.
I saw a word for the first time. It said unbiological.
Oh!
The other day, it was a really cute post I ended up sharing with my sisters, but I swear to God, there's a word in there that says unbiological, and me and Tirka had a fit. We laughed about it for like 7 minutes.
Well, we're talking about kidnapping for a reason. We got to get to this story before we head out of here. This is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Now, can you believe...
In Life After Love?
Can you believe she would do this?
Nah.
This is Cher.
Although she did say in that song she could feel something inside herself. So maybe this is what she felt.
Okay. So if new court documents accuse Cher of hiring 4 men to forcibly remove her son, Elijah Blue Ullman, from his New York hotel room on the night of his wedding anniversary with his estranged wife. So apparently this is some information being leaked from these court documents, and I think
I wonder if she used the same guys Jussie Smollett used.
That's a valid question. So her name is Marie Angela King. These allegations were revealed in court declaration by King in the ongoing divorce case filed by Ullman in November 2021. King claimed that she and Ullman were trying to work on their marriage after Cher asked her to leave their family home. The alleged abduction occurred after 12 days together in New York. King expressed concern for Ullman's well-being, stating that she had been denied contact with him since August 2022, and he was in lockdown at an undisclosed treatment facility with no phone access. Ullman has a history of addiction, and his relationship with sobriety has affected his relationship with Cher, who has also openly discussed her family's struggle with drug abuse. Cher's representatives had not yet commented on the allegation, but this summary does not include the craziest part of the story. Did you hear that one of the abductors, one of the kidnappers, literally told him, "Yeah, we're hired here by your mom"?
That is wild.
That's wild. They're awful criminals, right?
They are awful criminals.
Please let me know who they are. I would never want to hire them for a kidnapping.
I'm telling you, it's them people Jussie Smollett used.
Yo, hey, yo. Why did he tell him?
Maybe he felt guilty.
One of the 4 kidnappers. She hired 4 fucking people to go up there.
I mean, I guess if he was on drugs, that makes sense. Them druggies are strong. They get strength from the crack. Those drug-fueled rages are no joke.
Wow, Cher.
I'm trying to figure out, did she kidnap him because she wanted him to get further treatment? Like, I wish we understood, or did she not want him to get back with his ex?
I think that's what it is, yo. Petty White over here.
Can you imagine if something happened and somebody was like, I don't want you with Michelle, and they had you kidnapped?
I'd be like, hey, guys, you doing me a favor?
All right, it's time to go.
Okay.
It's time. You're not doing well.
I'm just kidding.
I know.